We ask questions like, why does death even have to happen? Why can't we just live forever? Or what occurs after death and what's true about all of that? And I'm one of those people. I've been wondering about that for a very long time, as I said, for most of my adult life. So finally, when I was having my conversations with God, I simply asked God, these questions. And God gave me a collection of answers, a long list of answers, so long that it created an entire book. And it's a book that I really want to commend to your reading. I want to suggest and recommend that you read it if you have an interest in this topic of death and what happens after death, if you have the same kind of interest that I have had in my life. The book is called Home with God in a Life That Never Ends. I began my own personal investigation into this topic by asking God simply, what is death? What is death anyway? And God said something to me that I never heard from any other source before in my life. It was a really interesting response. And here's what God said. God said, Neal, death is merely a process of re-identification. Have you ever heard that before? I found it fascinating to hear such a response. Death is a process of re-identification. It's a process through which we change our identity from what we thought we were or understood ourselves to be, that's true for most people, to what we actually are, to our real identities. And another question that comes up is, do we have only one lifetime in physicality, or do we come back into physicality more than once? There are many, many belief systems that say yes, of course. And we all understand the word for that is reincarnation. And there are a lot of people, billions of people, who believe in the concept of reincarnation. That is, the idea that we come back to physical life more than once. Conversations with God teaches us, in fact, that that's also true, that we come back into physical life not only more than once, but in fact a countless number of times, many, 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 many times, perhaps thousands of times, perhaps millions of times, actually endlessly. And so we learn from conversations with God that life is in fact eternal and is a process that moves from the physical to the non-physical, or what we call the spiritual, to the physical, to the metaphysical, to the physical, to the metaphysical, and just keeps on moving back and forth that way eternally, forever and ever, and even forevermore.
Hat dir dieses Video gefallen? Gib uns ein Zeichen und lasse einen Daumen nach oben da. Bist du interessiert an weiteren solchen kostenlosen Videos? Dann abonniere unbedingt unseren Kanal und drücke die Benachrichtigungsglocke, denn nur so stellst du sicher, dass du kein weiteres Video verpasst. Danke dir und bis zum nächsten Video.